going, ladies and gentlemen? I know, we're on camera. It doesn't make sense. And for those who are listening on Spotify, they're like, "What are you talking about?" Welcome back
There's
to.
no camera on Spotify.
You'll have to use your imagination and try to think of our beautiful faces. And I was gonna say mugs, and I said faces, all faces. But welcome back to BvG. And I think I've officially lost track of which episode we're on. I think this is like after that fast food gauntlet. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever.
I'm gonna just wing it with this is episode 7.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
we're doing like we did fast food February, which was like that was a whole month of episodes. Actually, no, we're way past 7. We gotta be at like 9 at least.
I think we might be like episode 11 or something like that. But yeah, we're moving along.
Yeah,
by this time, so it's like episode 4 plus. Yeah, we're probably dancing on episode 11. Aside the point, this topic for this episode of BvG is one that will probably be one of the most relatable and contested versus it's a battle as old as time itself, and it is cats versus dogs.
Oh yeah, kitties versus puppies.
Yep. And this is this one I think is gonna get some interesting feedback to see how it goes.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see. Even more than talking to you, I look forward to hearing and reading all the comments. We've gotten some good comments, especially on last Art versus Science, or at least on Art versus Science. There is a 10-page document comment left, and I mean, not literally, but it was really long, and it was I read the whole thing, and it was like a very thorough argument about like basically both sides. And by the end of it, they you'll be happy. By the end of it, they said Art wins.
Yes, it should. Yes, it should.
But they were like, I think they did more research in that comment than we did for the recording.
I always feel so silly when I look at my videos and I see someone leave a comment when they're obviously like did their homework and kind of put me to shame. Where I'm like, okay, you know better than I do. Okay. All right, you win.
I kind of loved it. Yeah, I mean, you may say that Art wins, but really, it's just you, sir or madam, that has won.
It's the science of the comment. All right. Well, before we hop into cats versus dogs and discuss how we're divvying that up, Scott, tell me how have you been? What's going on in the world of Scott?
Oh man, so I've been good. I wasn't sure if I was gonna share it, but I just got out of I just healed of COVID. I got COVID, everyone.
You got it.
And I don't know how. It just like I wear my mask for work every day because I mean I need to and I have to talk to people, but I still got it. And I feel great now. I mean, my time frame is up. I've already tested negative and everything, and I feel fine. My sense of smell has not fully come back yet.
I was going to ask. So riddle me this then. So what are the biggest changes that happened in your like health when you got it?
The biggest one was like definitely the muscle fatigue. Like my whole body like hurt, like teeth to toes, like everything hurt.
Toes.
Yeah, like my gums hurt, my teeth hurt, my arms hurt, legs hurt, like everything hurt. Like I just I mean the best description was hit by a truck.
Really?
And I'm like I've never been hit by a truck, so I can't really compare it, but I'm like it felt like I had gotten a solid walloping by someone much larger than me, and they punched me everywhere. But that was probably the most interesting thing was the amount of just weird like body fatigue that you just get. Like I was just exhausted and sore for no reason other than just being sick. And that was definitely the most interesting.
Was it mainly just hopping in bed and resting or laying on the couch and just taking it easy?
I mean, I have a 15-month-old daughter, so
There's no
I wasn't
resting.
able to do that.
No resting.
She, my amazing wife, she like, she had to deal with 2 babies for 10 days. Um, so like she let me like do as much resting as I could do, but my daughter just, I mean, she doesn't know what sick is. So she's like, anytime I sit down, she just waddle over and be like,
Pick me up.
and just be like, pick me up. It's like, I want up. I'm like, oh, Papa can't lift himself. He can't lift you. And just be like,
Lift.
just stare at me like, pick me up, you dirty jerk.
Well, I'm glad that you are back on the mend. I'm glad that your family's safe and healthy, and
Yeah,
that
Lauren never got it.
that's.
Never got it once. Didn't even sniffle. So I'm very, very grateful.
I've heard that. I've heard that for some folks, like they'll be the one person who has it in a group that are nearby, and for whatever reason, they don't get it, which is like good,
Yeah.
a blessing. But still, like I'm glad you're fine because I have again, COVID. It's like leading up to this episode, for basically a massive portion of last year in 2020. It's like we heard of it from a distance, and then it crept ever so closer to like my circle of loved ones and friends where I'm like, oh shoot, it's like, oh, you hear a stranger getting it or maybe a celebrity getting it, and then it's like a friend's family member gets it, and it's like, oh, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, like a friend's got it or a sister has it, and it's
Yeah.
like, again, like it's manageable, and that's why it's good to be ready for it and take care of yourself, but still, like, I'm glad you're all right. Let's just
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. We're all, we're all happy. We've been very blessed in that. I didn't get some super bad version of it. I think I officially, like, I felt sick on a Tuesday night, like where I looked over at Lauren. I was like, I can't really breathe out of my nose. Like I didn't lose taste or smell or anything yet, but like I just looked over. I was like, oh, I think I might be getting sick. Like I'd been working really hard. Like that last week, it was just a tough week, and like just didn't get a whole lot of sleep, which is very typical of me to get sick after that happens. Like if I have a really bad week of work and I don't sleep well, I always get sick. But
Mm.
and then on Wednesday morning, I woke up and I was like, I was like, I just hurt all over. So it just went from like, oh, I might be catching a cold to holy crap. But yeah, we're all good now, man. I was over it by Sunday. Like
Okay.
I only like by the time Sunday rolled around, even Sunday, I barely felt like I had anything anymore. Like it was done. Like it went through. I think it was on Sunday that I actually lost my sense of smell. Oddly enough, it was like very late in the game, so it's like I was over it, and then I lost my sense of smell, and then I was just like, okay, I'm still positive, so I just stayed at home. But yeah, it
Well,
was pretty. It's kind of short.
I'm glad you're better. That's
Yeah,
good
I'm
to hear.
feeling fine now. Like I still can't. I think I already said it. My sense of smell is selective. Like it's coming back,
Interesting.
but I can right now. I can. It's kind of amazing. I can only smell good
Farts.
smelling things.
Oh, never mind.
I literally like.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know when my daughter has pooped her pants. I
Oh.
can't tell. I can't tell. Like the last couple of days, I was like, I just have to pick her up and like I'd smell just because I just like you. She always has. There's always the face. Like there's a face. I was like, oh,
Mm.
I think you may have just pooped your pants. So I'd see her make the face. I'm like, okay, I'll go see if maybe I can smell it this time. And I'd go over and I'd kind of sniff around her butt. I'm like, well, I don't smell anything. So I just pick her up and walk her over to Lauren and just put
Yeah.
Violet's butt in her face and be like, did you poop?
Yeah, I can't
and then
tell.
and then I had to change like all the diapers because my wife's just like, you can't smell. Go change that diaper.
There you go. It gives you an
Yeah.
advantage,
So
actually.
yeah, that she gave me some extra work to do. But yeah, so we've been great ever since. I guess literally got like a 10-day paid vacation from work. So I'm like, it sucks. Like I'm more upset now that I have to go back to work tomorrow.
Right. This COVID thing was the best thing ever. I can't
It
smell
was
poop, and I'm getting paid to stay home. I
I
actually get it more often. Shoot, man. I'm going to go get it now.
I'm gonna get it again.
I'm going to get it.
How about you, man? What's been going on with you?
Laura moved back. She's at the house.
Yep.
And we're getting all
That's right. I
acclimated.
heard her yelling at you.
Yep. Telling me that I'm dumb.
Yep.
And yeah, just getting work done and staying busy on that front. Um, that's really it. There's nothing
That's
else to report in on except for like just kind of the ebb and flow of getting content created and getting Laura moved in, figuring that stuff out. We've been having a battle with Lowe's where
uh,
like we're getting a new oven because the old oven broke. It won't
yeah,
even
you
work.
mentioned that. Oh, I was excited for you then, but now I'm interested. What's going on there?
Dude, it's been interesting because like we can't roast vegetables, can't bake bread. There are so many dishes where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go make a lasagna or something, or I'm gonna make a pot roast or something, and it's like you need an oven, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like I miss roasted vegetables so much. Like
Mm.
vegetables are just like with olive oil and some kosher salt. Like I miss it so much. Don't get me wrong, I like sauteed vegetables, but like sometimes just popping into the oven, like okay, prep, bomb, like done, just close it and pop it out in like
Yeah,
20 minutes.
it's also just a different. It just tastes different, sautéed versus baked,
It
or
does. Yep.
roasted rather. It just tastes different. Like I've baked. This is gonna sound probably weird, but I'm like, instead of putting bacon in a
I
frying
was about
pan,
this. I'm right there with you. I'm 100 people.
I put it in the
It
oven, and it was amazing.
it is a game changer, folks. Listening right now, take it from us.
Yeah.
Putting bacon in the oven is superior than on the
It
skillet.
was so good. I don't
Less
know what it
cleanup.
was exactly, but it was so good.
Apparently, I read that on Reddit where someone said like when you're making bacon, put it on some tin foil, put it in the oven, wait like 20 to something minutes, whatever, pull it out in mass. It is perfectly cooked, and apparently it's how restaurants do it. When restaurants do bacon, they don't waste their time doing it on a skillet. They throw it in the
That
oven
would
in
make
mass,
sense. You'd
and
probably be able to do more at once too. Big
yep,
old
and
kitchen ovens.
it's not popping everywhere at you.
Yeah.
It's in the oven and like in the liquid fat, whatever. It kind of just like there's that love, like there's like a little pond of it, but it's not
Yeah.
shooting out everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It just sits there.
I don't like making bacon on these. I have a cast iron. Even then, I'm like, it's not fun making bacon. I like like the ASMR of sizzling bacon, but after a while, it's like just popping into the oven is so much easier.
Yeah.
So I
When
miss
it
that
comes to when it comes to taste.
and taste. But yep, Lowe's have been giving us the runaround where apparently our oven's on back order. They kept pushing it back week after week after week. We should have gotten it back in like January 3rd, and it's
Oh jeez.
they pushed it back to like February like 5th. And Laura's, I tried calling them, they didn't really pick up. Laura was on the path of resolving this, and she was finally able to get some answers. Long story short, they didn't have the oven that we needed, and she was able to finally get a hold of somebody to get the oven out here for another model. But
Yeah.
it was still like, come on, Lowe's, like you left this in like left this hanging without having any clue. And
Oh man. That's
yeah,
that's a
it's
bummer.
it's one of those first world problems where it's like easily you can address this and figure it out. It's just more of a headache because it's like, you guys, come on, you can't yell us no,
Yeah.
like we have no clue. Oh well.
Yeah, exactly. No, I gotta say, so this is not the debate for the night, but Home Depot or Lowe's?
Home Depot.
Really? Ah, see, I have had too many bad experiences with Home Depot now, at least the Home Depot nearest my house, that I have switched over to Lowe's like exclusively.
Why?
But it's mainly because of the employees. It's not so much the inventory. I find that Home Depot is best for like your like construction professionals and stuff because like I mean it's just the way it seems like if you are in construction like looking to go buy some lumber, looking to go buy stuff that you need for the job, a industrial job or whatever. Uh it seems like that's you go to Home Depot. But if you are a hobbyist, a just a home improvement, it's like I feel like Lowe's has all of that stuff.
Interesting.
And it's just from my experience thus far that I would make that conclusion. Because anytime I want something that's just like a quick little, like, oh, I want to build a shelf really fast, but the L bracket I want to use because, we have an aesthetic going in the house. Like, I want to get a pretty L bracket that is in white instead of some, you know, stainless steel looking literal L that's just
Interesting.
ugly to look at. anytime I'd go to Home Depot, I could not find any like attractive ornamental like things. All
Huh.
the prettier stuff seems to be at Lowe's. But my reason for disliking Home Depot was because of one woman at the Home Depot nearest my house who was their plumbing expert. And when we first moved into our house, I had to I redid a lot of the kitchen and I put in new countertops and a new sink. But the sink was larger, so I had to redo the plumbing underneath the sink. And it wasn't like anything crazy, honestly, like under the sink plumbing isn't that bad, but this woman like I went to Home Depot like twice a day for like 2 weeks. And they kept telling me to talk to this one lady, and every time I'd go ask her a question, she would not actually listen to me. She'd tell me to go buy a part. I would buy it, go home. It would not be the right part. It would not be what I needed. And it took me like 2 weeks of this woman making me drive back and forth and buying and refunding. And then I was like, I took a piece of the plumbing and I took it to her and I said, "This is the style that I need." She's like, "Oh, okay, well, that's in the back of the store." She literally was having me buy stuff in the wrong area of the store.
Wow,
And I was
incompetent.
just kind of like, I was like, if I can never go to Home Depot again, I never will.
Dang.
Thankfully there's a Lowe's like the next exit down, so I can
I'll
just
have
do
to keep
that.
that in consideration next time I go. I don't do
Yeah.
home improvement that often, but I tell you what, this though, I loved going to Home Depot with my mom and going to like the gardening section where they had
Mhm.
like those little like ponds with like the fish in there, and I just would watch the fish swim around. And also the Home Depot near Woodstock, it had a restaurant in there called Miss
What?
Winners. Yes, it was called Miss Winners. Remember Miss Winners?
No, I do remember Winners, but there's in Woodstock. The Home Depot in Woodstock had a Mrs. Winners in it.
Used to, and they shipped Miss Winners with the Home Depot mascot. That was like his wife, and or at least a fling. And I remember, like, I vividly recall there being a chicken restaurant in a Home Depot, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah. If you they I think they gutted it out and made it a like employee lounge now, but
Probably deserved.
I haven't, yeah, right. But I haven't been there in a while. But I remember seeing that. Also, I think Home Depot would do like hot dogs. Also, I think Lowe's did that too. I think they both do. Where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
come get a free hot dog and a bucket of popcorn or something in the front of the
Yeah.
store.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. I walked into a lane and and they did lemonade, and I was
Mhm.
like, and the funny thing is, I was like, lemonade stand, you just usually picture like a little kid. And I walked in as lemonade stand, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Where's the 10-year-old selling lemonade? It's like a 70-year-old woman. Hello, welcome to Lowe's. I was like, oh, hello, madam. I'd love your lemonade.
Are you looking
Uh,
for plywood?
you're looking to get nails?
Yeah, right. No, I know what I said. No.
You saucy,
Madam,
saucy boy.
madam, right? You want to get low with me? Yeah, whatever. All right. Well, I'm
Shawty, get low, low, low.
dude. Oh, here, real fast. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
We gotta probably start the episode.
we do, but so I've been noticing that there's been a resurgence as of late of romanticizing the early 2000s, which is,
Oh.
I'd say, like, I grew up in the 90s as a kid. I remember it, but like having the autonomy of a teenager onward to being early college, that was 2000s.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, the early 2000s, like with these cartoon shows that aired, and like I recall going to the mall. I think music was lost upon me a bit more because I wasn't as much of a music person. But like, tell me if I'm wrong. Like System of a Down,
Yep.
Chemical Romance. Uh,
Yep.
I felt like Hot Topic was really important going there.
Oh yeah.
Hanging out
Hot
at the
topic.
mall. Didn't Tyler
Yep.
Bowling work at Abercrombie and Fitch?
Oh god. So he did, and I worked at an Abercrombie and Fitch for a
That's
little while
right.
as
You
well.
did work. You worked a lot of jobs, bro.
Dude, I've worked so many jobs. I've had a job in some way or shape in my life since I was like 11. I've always had every summer since I was 11, I had a job
Jeez, dude.
somehow.
Because you worked at
I've always
Johnny's.
done.
Was Johnny's before or after Crystal Blue? That was before, right?
Before, yeah. I don't think I started lifeguarding until I had already left Johnny's Pizza, the pizza place
Dude,
that
I
was
just
in
realized
Philadelphia.
we both worked the same job twice.
Yeah, that's right. We have. We've worked
Starbucks
together
and
twice in our
lifeguarding.
lives.
Jeez, how about that? I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that until now.
Although I remember our Starbucks supervisor, Nick, super cool guy, but I remember specifically when I told him to hire you, uh, and I got you and I kind of helped you get that job. I remember he's like, you're not gonna get to work together very much, right? I was like, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, we worked like I think maybe 7 days total, like on several different occasions, but it wasn't much. Same thing with lifeguarding. We didn't work together that often, but yeah, whatever.
No, I think everybody knew not to put us together too often.
I don't
Not
get
that we
that
would
though.
take lifeguarding too lightly, but
Right. It's
we,
weird.
we probably had more fun than they wanted us to.
You can't smile at work. Be miserable.
Yeah, no umbrellas in the heat.
Right. So that all being said, though, seeing the people romanticizing the early 2000s, I'm like, all right, like how much longer until it's romanticizing the early 2010s? And that scares.
So what age group is romanticizing the 2000s? Is it our age group?
No,
who are these people doing? Because I'm like,
Zoomers. It's TikTokers who are like, they're like, man, I wish I was born in the early 2000s doing the emo music and being a scene girl or being able to be goth. And I was and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, wow, because that was I edgy teenage has always been a thing, always, like whether it's grunge to like, I know that the early 2000s was extra emo because like the music really reflected that at the times, like I mean, Evanescence, folks are like, I'm going under. Like, oh my god, we're all so deep. Dude, I remember how
I was listening to Outkast more during the middle school. I was all about Outkast, man. I was really into rap in middle school. I thought I was like so cool.
Same. I yeah, there was very much so a 95.5 the beat, but I guess to make it go full circle here and wrap it up, swinging into our actual discussion. But like, it's just interesting because it's nostalgia, rose tinted glasses, where whether you're in the 80s romanticizing the 70s, the 90s romanticizing the 80s, and I know that Stranger Things and it's chapter 1 and 2 both
they made you
the 80s, and it's like, okay, I don't know, it seems like, okay, hot take. It seems that a lot of the trendsetters have to really make massive efforts to dress and look like they don't care, which is ironic because it's them caring. And it's like, what's the most uncool thing, right, that we could do that makes us seem like indifferent and 2000s? All right, it's 2000s. And put on a fanny pack. Who gives a shit? Or I'll edit that out.
Bloop.
Who gives a darn? But yeah, honest to God, it's just, I don't know. It's folks who are like, yeah, I shop at the Goodwill because I don't care, and it's like, oh, you do.
Yes, you do.
You do. But
I could never find anything at Goodwill.
Dude, I love, so Race Best and I would go to Goodwill and buy a bunch of outfits for our Who's Line panels at conventions. And it was perfect. It was perfect. I'm like, this is a treasure trove of potential for improv. And also, you know what, for what it's worth, it's also a treasure trove for a lot of things. Like, it's like for hunting down bad movies, chef's kiss. It is wonderful. Sure. All right, I'm sorry. Tangents and after tangent.
No, we're good. I love tangents.
Let's do it. Let's spend the next 30 minutes talking about who would win. Sorry, let me how far are we in? Yeah, 30 minutes would be perfect. All right. At this point, folks, we are going to do our verses. And for now, and for this episode, it is cats versus dogs. When I mentioned this on the phone to Scott yesterday, you went ahead and decided to be the champion of cats.
Yes. Yep.
Why?
I grew up with both. Like well, growing up, I had two dogs, and multiple cats. I say multiples because like poor things. The cats kept getting hit by the cars that would be zooming in around the neighborhood. The dogs always were in their fence, so we didn't have that issue. But the cats were like, "Yeah, go on out, do your thing." Cats just don't. They're not going to stay in a fence. So we had we had two dogs, and at the same time we had those two dogs, we probably had like four cats.
Give me a rundown of the dogs and the cats' names, because I vaguely recall
Okay.
them.
Let's see. There was the dogs were Stony and Ellie.
Stony and
Yeah.
Ellie.
So
That's right.
here's the southernness coming through in my family. It's not Stony. His name, good sir, was Stonewall Jackson. We called him Stony for short.
Stonewall Jackson.
And Ellie was Mrs. Eleanor Jackson, Great Stonewall's wife. You can thank my father for those.
I'm glad they're dead. The dogs,
Yeah.
they
And
are.
then-
What it was the dogs? Was the cat's name Jeffrey Davis?
No, it was Abraham.
Grand Wizard. No, I'm sorry.
No. The cats' names made a lot less sense. No, we had a theme for them too.
What was it?
We only had the two dogs ever, so there wasn't really a running theme for them, but it was just Stony and Ellie.
Okay.
The cats were, because we had multiple cats.
You like 3 or 4 that I recall vividly, I can't remember.
We had multiple cats, and a lot up until my parents' current cats. We had a running theme, probably from my dad again, of naming our cats after Sherlock Holmes novels.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
So we've had
Watson,
I
then, right?
had a cat. Yeah, I had a cat named Watson.
That's
I had
right.
I had a cat named Sherlock at one point.
Okay.
We had a cat named Holmes.
Okay.
And we had a cat named London. London was Tyler's cat. We had two Londons.
London.
We had London number one, and who was like one of those was calico, but it was like the black and the yellow and the white, like one of the bright calicos. And that was Tyler's. That was London number one, and then we got another one in the exact same style, like calico with the brighter colors, and she was London number two. Tyler was not creative with his names. He just kept picking London.
I like it. London 2.0. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that one cat. He's got Raffles. That's right.
Raffles. Yeah. So my brother Tyler, he and his are cat people. They don't have any dogs. They only have the two cats. They have Raffles and Casper. Casper's newer. He's a big white and black cat. Raffles. I mean, Carver, you've met Raffles. Raffles is the most special cat that I've personally ever met.
She's different. She's very different because she's big and fluffy, and she's like really sweet, and she'll like I don't know. Most cats personalities are be careful touching me, don't touch me. Raffles, I feel like you can just treat her like a bag of potatoes and just like blah, 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 like and she's like, all right, like I'm cool with it.
She doesn't care. She's the cat that would make a dog lover like cats.
That's a good way of putting it, because so a big part of our verses here is like just, and I'll go ahead and say this because what we should do is let's do a quick presentation of like, here's what I think. I'm trying to think how we should do this. Like maybe we should do something like, here's what the upsides of a cat and my experiences with cats, and this is why I think cats are the best. And then I'll hit you with a counter, and then I can do my thing of white dogs, and then you can go, and then we start to go at each other.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I feel like that's about classic, and we'll stick with that for sure. Because I'm like, everything. There is no, in my opinion, there is no real. I did not do any research for this because I'm like, to me, it's like if you like cats better than dogs or vice versa, it's solely opinion. I can't imagine anybody looking into scientific research when they would answer this question. It's just, what do you like better, cats or dogs?
I will say this. Okay, fine. I'm not going to stop one thing off. If you're talking about which animal is probably more useful to humans, dogs by a long shot. Companionship's different because both are equal in that realm. But as far as utility goes of what they can do, a dog, bomb sniffing, police dog for helping deaf and blind people, like a dog is a lot more, has a lot more capabilities for helping a person and helping us hunt back in the day. Cats are just like, what's up? I'm hanging out. I'm here. Cats didn't help humans in our journey of civilization. Cats just kind of hung out with us. Ironically, though, in our journey of civilizations, there are some civilizations that decided to worship cats. I don't know why. Egyptians are weird.
Smart.
No,
they're
not. All right, cool. Go ahead. Okay, cat pitch me. Let's go.
Cat pitch you. All right, so cats are better than dogs.
Okay.
I can already say you made a fair point saying the usefulness of dogs.
Yeah.
Cats it's hard to find usefulness for cats. I've never seen a seeing eye cat. Nope. Pretty hilarious.
I'm gonna get hit by a car. Fall off a building.
Blind people trying to climb trees because the cat ran into the tree.
Right. Just get out of the tree.
Okay, so no, cats are not like super useful, but the reason I like the reason I've come to argue about cats is that I think cats to me have a resourcefulness on their own that I think my main argument point is that cats can still permit you to have more freedom in your own life because they can actually take care of themselves. That's going to be I can almost just stop there in the sense of that's going to be that's the crux of my argument.
Okay.
Is that when I'm talking about when you have a pet dog versus a pet cat, pet dogs, the camaraderie that you feel with a dog to a cat is going to be completely different because just the social interaction between the animals and yourself can be wildly different. Cats can be a little more standoffish, it's true, but with a cat, when they are affectionate, it's one of those things where it's sounds weird. It's one of those things where I'm like, a cat can like go and do its own thing, and you don't have to feel like, oh, I better go walk the cat. Oh crap, I better go feed the cat. I mean, you do need to feed a cat, but like you can leave a bowl of food out for a cat, and that cat will eat that bowl for days. Like it won't, it's like it's not gonna just gorge it all down in one heap like a dog, and then require more feeding again with you having to get up and make the effort. I'm like, a cat is like an effortless creature that does still love you, but kind of like, yeah, no, I love you. Let's hang out for a while. They'll sit in your lap, they'll purr, they'll be cute, and they're just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go do my own thing. I'll be back a little while later. Don't worry about me. I'll go catch we ran out of food. That's fine. I'll go catch a squirrel really quick. Just let me outside the house. Oh, you're worried about me running away? I'll come back. I always do. It's sort of one of those things. I'm like, you can train a dog to do a lot of things, but cats just like have this innate ability to be like, they just like, this is my home. I can go out from this place, but I always come back. Like they're so rare that a cat that I've experienced, and people could tell me I'm wrong, that a cat would run away. So in that regard, you think of like you don't really have to worry as much about what am I going to do with my cat when I go out of town for 3 days. Maybe for like a long period. I know with my parents and they wanted to go on vacation, they might ask my brother and I to come and check on their cat, but there's more because their cat had to take medicine than we're afraid this cat isn't going to feed itself because it did, you know? So it's one of those things I'm like, you have a freedom in your life when you have this animal. And when it is affectionate to you, it feels like a reward because it's almost extra special because it doesn't happen all the time. I'll stop there because I'm going to start repeating myself. I think it's a worthwhile thing to say that the ease of owning a cat for the most part, other than extra expenses, veterinary things. I'm like, the ease of the cat makes the cat's value much higher than you might originally assume.
Fair. I agree. That is the crux of your like point, and I think it's a good one to back up. Is I don't want to give too much credit because we'll get to the part of the discussion where we kind of see eye to eye. But
I don't like you.
The fact that while you're talking about how it's easy to take care of a cat, I was looking over my shoulder to make sure Lammy was okay. And if it was a cat, there wouldn't be any worry. A cat takes care of itself. Okay, here we go. A dog.
But Lammy had a stroke, so
he's a special case.
You probably wouldn't be looking over and be like, he's still breathing if it was like 4 years ago.
Do you see him right there? Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Hey, buddy, look at you.
So the relationship between a person and a dog can take so many forms, but the main common denominator in all of it is that they look at you as the leader. They worship you. They love you. Albeit there are some, of course, there'll be some dogs who are like a bit standoffish too, or skittish. But by and large, the way that dogs are programmed is they look towards you to be the leader, to feed them, to walk them, to take care of them. They require a lot of attention. The lifestyle for a dog is one where you better have a schedule open, especially if it's a bigger dog. Now, that being said, with the high cost of look at him, he's getting up right now. He's literally getting up right now. Look at this old boy.
There he is.
So I sat down to record when you were like, let's record, and I just I spilled water in my pants, so I'm just wearing my boxer briefs. Nice. So I can't get up the
get him off the couch.
He'll plop back down. Sit down, Lammy, whatever. But
he's like, I want to get down now. It's like, well, you're stuck there.
This is actually, I'll use him as an example. So Lammy, high maintenance. Dogs are high maintenance. You can't just get a dog and expect it to take care of itself. Okay, ain't gonna happen. They will freak out. They will get into mischief. They could hurt themselves. You need to have a life to take care of them and train them. Now, if you have that lifestyle, if you can train them and get them to follow your commands, and you have enough energy and time to walk them, play with them, it's rewarding. You have an animal in your life that will die for you. Where a cat can love you, a cat will not. If a guy comes at you with a knife, a cat might be like, and might, jump and scratch at the guy, but a dog will attack. A dog will see that person attacking you and go, you're attacking my alpha, I'm going to kill you. Which is Lammy. Not Lammy. He'll probably fall over and die. Lammy's 16, by the way, folks.
He would run up to that person and be like, oh, let me lick your face.
Yeah, right. Hold on. Here, sit down here. Come on. Have a seat. There you go. Good boy. Good boy.
There's a good boy. I've gotten to meet Lammy in person. No surprise, because Carver and I grew up together. This dog has been around for a very long time. So I've met Lammy. We've cuddled. We've hung out. Lammy is a wonderful little dog. He is so funny.
Dude, he's 16. It's back.
Unreal.
It's unreal. That's very close to when we got to know each other. So
that's wild. I knew you I know you had your dog Buddy when we first met. Correct. But unfortunately he passed probably a year into
2012. Actually, it was college.
Oh, okay. So it's further along.
2011 or 2012. So you know what? No, it might have been 2000. It was
earlier than that.
It was. I think it was around 2008. That being said, you're right. It was earlier on, while Lammy was a puppy. Scott and I were friends when I got Lammy, and it's weird because Lammy's his lifespan represents multiple eras of my life and chapters. Same with you, Scott. That 16-year-old me to 32-year-old me, very different people, very different. And the fact that he's been there since I was 16. Wow. Yeah. So that being said, Lammy, dogs, I want to make it abundantly clear that I'm not going to be one of those types where I'm like, dogs love and cats are standoffish. It's not true. I've seen cats who love fiercely. but dogs love fiercely on a level where they will lay their life down. I've read stories of like there was this woman who got attacked by a bear, and her I think it was a gray no it was a Irish Wolfhound and a Great Dane she had that basically attacked the bear and kept it busy enough for her to get away, and she survived.
Wow.
So
They probably did.
oh, I mean, dogs. No, they survive too. Because like I
story then.
Yes, yeah. I think bears when they run into wolves or dogs, they are like poop. Like I'm outnumbered. Because I mean, bears are big and they're strong, and they can beat gorillas.
No gorilla. They're no gorilla.
Yeah, right. But when I do hang with dogs, again, they love very fiercely. They'll plop down on you. They'll play with you. They are all about you. You are their god. Like they worship you because they see
create food and water for them.
Yeah, because there's that old saying, cats think they're the gods and dogs look at us as the gods. And like I know like when it comes to lifestyles, like if you are busy and you're leaving home all the time and you can't be home often, don't get a dog. Don't get a dog. Because a dog will suffer because of it. I think dogs pay a higher toll on lifestyles that can't. Like a dog is higher maintenance, and I fully acknowledge that, and that is a disadvantage for dogs. But if you do have a lifestyle like the bond you build walking your dog, going out for walks, you get to enjoy it with your dog, throwing toys, playing fetch and wrestling and cuddling and just them being about you. Like if you're looking for real raw companionship of an animal that will follow you to the grave, it's a dog. Cats, no. Cats are sweet and they will love you and they'll hang out with you, but cats will just go off and do their own thing. And for some folks, that's a good lifestyle. To be perfectly honest, after Lammy passes, like I think I won't get a dog. He's like, huh? What? Did you see that? He's like, oh, wait, what? I do what now? Don't worry, we baptized him, but honestly, I think my lifestyle, like at least for the time being, I won't do a dog, and because I have a cat in my life, because my girlfriend Laura has a cat named Danny, who's like 3 years old or something like that, and she's super sweet. She hangs out, but there are parts of the day where she's just gone, where she just disappears, and it's like, oh, she's a cat. That's what they do. Versus Lammy, who's a constant in my life. Constant. Dogs are constants in your life. And now I'm going off on tangents, but that's the crux of my argument. Is a dog is one of the like peak forms of companionship, and that is something you cannot get with a cat, at least as far as like having someone who's there with you and having a bond that is that tight.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it probably changes case to case.
It does.
Like
it
I
does.
said, I mean, I can honestly say that a cat, and I don't even think a cat would try to help a human who is about to be attacked. That cat, as soon as you run towards a cat runs in the other direction. Even
real fast. So there's that infamous video where it has a little kid playing in the driveway, and like the pit bull attacks the kid,
and
the cat, like a bat out of hell, rammed the dog and actually chased the dog down. So it's not to say
no, that's true. Okay,
it's not to say cat. It's weird. I'm not saying cats can't go for walks. I'm not saying cats don't defend fiercely, but when it comes to a like more of a genetic way and more of the norms, dogs do that. Cats don't. Yeah,
you would expect it from the cat.
Craig bot left.
I saw that too. Yeah. Did he time out after an hour or something?
Possibly. Let me pop him back in here. Get in here, Craig bot.
Damn it, Craig.
It says he's still recording.
Really?
Hold on.
He's not even in the thing, according to mine. It's just you and I. Like, Craig isn't even in the whatchamacallit anymore. It's not listed under the general.
Let me see where we are with our. Good thing I'm doing this, like the audio here on OBS. And what we might want to do next time is get Audacity for the ultimate backup. Oh, Craig Bot just hit me up. I'm already recording that channel.
Now
there it is.
recording.
We're back.
Yes, I didn't realize I was getting DMs from him. Recording channel general, blah blah blah. To delete. I've been unexpectedly disconnected. If you want to stop me recording, please command me to Craig leave. Channel recording channel. That is right now. Cool. We're good. We should be fine.
Okay, so we're back at it. Okay, so yeah, you make a very fair point. That was what I completely forgot about that infamous video about that cat that knocked that dog away. Okay, so fair point again, but that just speaks
I'm trying to be
case by
fair.
case.
I'm trying to be
that
fair.
Speaks to case by case basis. I mean, you would expect that kind of. You use the word consistency. You would expect that kind of that would be a consistent thing you would expect of a dog. A dog who loves its owner. That's not something you would expect from a cat who loves its owner. But it obviously can't happen. My brother's cat Raffles is one of those kind of exception cats.
Yes.
Not that little squatty thing would actually try to do anything to help him in a dangerous situation. But we're talking about a cat.
To be fair, he wouldn't either.
Yeah.
He wouldn't either.
He would. Case by case by case.
Case by case. Case by case.
But that Raffles is this cat that, like, it's the most dog-like cat I've ever met. And that's that almost, I don't want to say it defeats my argument, but in a way it kind of could. But then Lammy to me is the most in a weird way. It was the most cat-like dog in a way. But what I was saying essentially is Raffles is this cat that, like most cats, if more than one person shows up in a house that it doesn't recognize, that cat is never to be seen again. Like, it runs and hides, you never find it again. That's how my parents' new cat, Mrs. Priss, I freaking hate that cat.
Really?
I like cats very much. This cat sucks. It won't even, like, I have not even met that cat. My parents have had that cat for well over a year, maybe 2 years now, and I have still never met that cat. Anytime I ever go to my parents' house, that cat is nowhere in sight.
You know what's interesting though is that, like, I know I've known a variety of cats who kind of behave the same way but don't, and other ones who don't. Where, like, Laura's cat Danny loves to be involved and will investigate when guests come over. I've been to a house where there's one cat who is very involved and will walk up and give you hugs and hang out, while the other one is hiding in another room. So I guess it might be a personality thing.
That's my brother's house right there. Raffles will be involved in a party of 50 people. Casper, if I show up by myself and it's just Tyler and I, that cat will still hide. Oh, look at those underpants.
No, look.
Thigh.
I have to blur it out for YouTube. But yeah, I mean, that's I understand it. Like, while like the norm, or not the norm, while I think most folks know, cats can be a bit more reluctant to meet new people, dogs are like, yo, I'm all about this. I want to meet people. Now, again, there are exceptions, because some dogs are scared or timid. Okay, so there's a strike against me though. We brought up Tyler Bowling before.
I knew you were about to bring this up. His freaking chihuahuas. Oh my god.
There was Gizmo. I remember the name. Yeah. Gizmo was the little, like, teacup, like, Yorkie or whatever. Yeah, and Gizmo was cool.
he was actually pretty sweet.
What was the chihuahua?
Lucifer, I think, was the other one's name.
The Antichrist. Satan? Yeah, right. Yeah. Hitler. But it was Goebbels. But I remember, like, being, I love dogs, but I mean, this dog is so mean. And here's the thing is that, like, it wasn't necessarily the dog I was scared of, if you catch my meaning. It was the owner. But right. Georgia. That was his name. Right? It was Georgia, right?
Yeah, it was Georgia.
Yeah. That little thing, and always charged at you.
So mean.
Because now in hindsight, as an adult, I would just put my shoe down. I'd be like, try it. Just try it. But, like, again, being like a bunch of weird high schoolers who are like, we don't want to rock the boat with the parents. Like, stay, because they had a fence in their kitchen where they kept George and Gizmo. But
so it was very easy to avoid them.
But that Georgia was an unpleasant dog to me. Now, for all I know, maybe
Yeah.
she was a sweetheart with the owners. But to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, that's, and also it was one of those weird dogs where they did the pee mats. And I'm like, dogs don't do that.
Yeah.
There you go. That's another thing, advantage and disadvantage. You mentioned that dogs are a lot more dependent on a human for going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You have to walk them. Dogs rarely can they do the newspaper thing, like go walk them. Cats
Yeah.
are wired to do the litter box, and that's pretty
Yeah.
convenient.
You show them where they're supposed to go and they just get it. They
Yep.
just understand. That's one thing that's nice about cats. Cats, I think you could argue, like a lot of people might say that cats can't be trained, but it's really just a matter of like they can be. It's like I don't know how to phrase it. It's like training them sounds weird, but you can. It's just like they're animals that I think just operate on like, not to sound mean to dogs, but they operate just on like on a higher, and what I would only can figure is a higher level, which is like their brains. You can show a cat something, and it does it. Like
I highly
you don't.
disagree. I disagree.
Okay, okay, please do.
I,
We haven't hardly disagreed yet.
I disagree because it's not that cats are on a higher level. I think it's a luck of the draw where genetically that's easier for them with how they do the bathroom. Where it's like, oh, that's a convenience where cats know where to use the bathroom, go to the litter box, good. Versus dogs, where yeah, you can they prefer to go romping around, peeing on trees, pooping in the yard. They love the smell. Dogs like to walk around broad ranges and sniff things around. Cats don't really do that. They sniff, but not nowhere near as much as dogs. My disagreement is this though. It's not that cats are on a higher level, because look at dogs, the police dogs, the ones at the airport sniffing for bombs. Dogs have Australian shepherds, like when they go around putting sheep and moving them from flock to flock. Dogs are super smart. I think it's safe to say dogs are much smarter than cats. Now, I'm not saying cats are dumb. I think dogs, because of their pack-like mentality and high energy, if you can go at them training them, I mean, you can train them to do some magnificent things. And it's like, but it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. That's the thing.
I guess where my point was coming from with, perhaps I did phrase it when I said higher
How
intelligence
dare
might
you?
not be fair.
Lammy smart.
But here's why I chose those words specifically, is that and it goes to the point of like it requires like full-time job level patience to train the dog to do things.
Okay.
To do things on command. So like, and this might be a one-time kind of thing, but like with a cat, and it might just, again, it could be further than this, but I'm like, you show a cat where to poop and it poops. You don't like it. Doesn't take a lot of training.
There you go. That's fair.
To get the cat.
It's more automatic.
Kind of want it, yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Fair.
what I'm saying.
Fair.
Why I said it, like maybe they operate on a higher level. It's just that it doesn't take as much time to get the cat to do whatever that might be. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. Not whatever you might want it to do, because there's going to be a lot that a cat just is not going to do. But like going to the bathroom, getting its food, like a cat isn't gonna, like, you show a cat where its water bowl is and knows where its water bowl is. You show a cat where its food bowl is. Well, that's fair with a dog too, but you understand my point. It doesn't take a lot of training to do a lot of stuff with cats, I don't think.
Let's bring it full circle. So this is a really interesting episode because I think Scott and I, we didn't go at each other's throats. I think we both, since we both have done cats and we both have done dogs in our lives, we can see advantages and disadvantages for both. I stand that a dog is more capable when it comes to task for helping humans, that like a hunting dog, a bomb sniffing dog, so on and so forth. Dogs have a long line of jobs and tasks that really help out and they're quite unique at, versus cats where they're more of like existing and companionship. A dog can be companionship, but it's going to be a bit more high maintenance. That being said, like your lifestyle as an individual is the supreme decider of what fits for you. It's not necessarily that a cat's better than a dog or vice versa.
I just had to
It's raining
just
cats
had
and
to put that one in.
dogs. How dare! But honest to God though, like I think it all depends on your moment and your preference. Because like for me
Mhm.
right now, I love Lammy in my life. I really do, and I think he's fantastic. And I'm glad he gets to hang out with me. But it is an ordeal when I travel to figure out what I'm supposed to do with him. Versus
Yep.
a cat where it's like, some food, you're fine.
Yeah.
And that goes for any dog. Like you need to call someone to come check on your dog and walk them daily. A
Yep.
cat, you're set. Now, as I get older, like whenever I'm in my 50s or whatever, I might be like, all right, life's a bit more boring. I want something that's a bit more of a high maintenance responsibility to keep me busy and give me companionship. Boom, get a dog. Get
Dog.
a dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. But
For
if
sure.
you're in your 70s and you are not as capable anymore because you're getting older and tired, get a cat. Cats hang out with you.
Yeah, cats will just kind of chill. They might vanish for hours at a time, and you might be wondering where did it go, but it's gonna come back. It'll
It's
show
gonna
up.
come back. Yep.
It'll show up. Yeah, I think that's fair. It just kind of depends on where you are in your life. Like where I'm at in my life right now, in a small 2-1 house a with a 1-year old. I'm like, a dog is the furthest thing from my mind.
That's too
Like,
much. It's too much.
yeah, it's like I already have a child. I don't need a
You
second
already
yet.
got. You already got. Yeah. Right. Right.
I'm like, I don't, and like, and since I'm working right now, since I'm working and Lauren stays at home, it's like, it's great that she can stay home and raise our kid, but I'm like, I don't need her to,
Pile
I
up,
don't
and
want her to
also the
stay home
expenses.
and take care of that too. Yeah. So I'm like, if we were to get an animal, right? If I were to get an animal tomorrow,
Cat.
cat. It would 100% be a cat. Lauren didn't care for cats until she met Raffles, and now she's like, yeah, I can do a cat as long as
Yeah.
the cat's basically Raffles.
Right.
But and that's like 101 possibility, if not more.
Yeah.
So I'm
Raffles is
like,
pretty unique. The same way that Lammy's pretty unique. Where.
Lammy is super unique. I've not so he's a poodle,
Mhm.
and like I've met more. Now I haven't met like a ton of crazy aggressive poodles per se, but I gotta say, when it comes to smaller miniature sized dogs, I rarely have found one that I liked as much as Lammy from like the beginning.
Oh,
Because like usually, I mean, not to sound overly stupid, but I'm just kind of like, I usually have an issue with them because
the Yelpers.
they usually kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
times, they're either like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're either like loud and obnoxious and won't leave you alone in the sense of like, I don't trust you. You're new here. You're a new smell. Blah 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 blah. I'm telling you all about it. Or like, well, really, that's kind of the only instance. The other instance I was thinking of is like just obnoxious. A lot of times they're like these the petite little annoying things. I'm like, you're so frou frou. I'm like, you're not a dog. But
Lammy,
Lammy is
he's
like
an
this.
exception. He's a
He
low
is. He's
energy
a special
exception.
case. Where I'm just kind of like, I met Lammy. I was like, oh, gross, a poodle. And then like I hung out with him, like, wow, he's
Came
pretty
around.
sweet.
Came around.
And
Came
he's just
around.
like, I remember we'd be at your mom's house. We'd be like sitting on the one computer they had in that special computer room in your basement, like playing whatever game it was we were playing at the time. And then Lammy would just be in there. He'd just be like hanging, and he'd like pop his leg, his front paws up on my thigh, and be like, "Hey, man,
Yep.
I love you."
Lammy likes companionship. That's Lammy. He likes companionship. He likes to hang out, which is great for me in my current lifestyle. But I guess my big takeaway for ultimately for everything is, yeah, it just depends on you as an individual. Not necessarily that cats are superior to dogs or vice versa, but like what works for you at the moment in your life.
Yeah.
Because I think cats are pretty great. I think dogs are pretty great. I just think it requires what level of responsibility and dedication are you ready to give? And if it's not a
Yeah.
lot, get a cat. And if it's if you
Get a
want
cat,
if you want someone
for
to keep
sure.
you busy, get a dog.
Yeah. And I will say this much with cats, I'm like, I've net like a cat to the owner is usually always wonderful. It's very rare that I know of that when like a cat is like as uncool to a stranger uncool to its owner as it is a stranger that just
Yes,
showed up at the
yes,
house.
indifferent. I mean,
Cats are like, so I'm like, I experience these cats that aren't mine. And yeah, to me, I'm like, geez, you guys suck. Like my
you
parents' cat specifically. My brother's other cat, Casper, his wife's cat, essentially. I think technically that's hers. I've actually one of the first times I went over, it took a couple hours, but he eventually came out and kind of got used to me and actually sat in my lap.
Oh,
He was cool. But then something, I don't know what it was, but I'm like, I left that night because I don't live there. And I came back, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later just to hang out with Tyler again. And it's like he never met me before in my life or in his life, and he wouldn't come out of the other side of the house. I'm like, I
interesting.
thought we were cool, bro. What happened?
It
You know,
just takes
and that
time.
even now, yeah, even now, I'm like, I don't get to go over as much, and I'm sure it's 100% because of that. He doesn't see me enough, but I'm like, they're like, "Oh yeah, Casper's amazing. We love him so much." I'm like, I believe you, but I only saw it that one time. But my parents' cat, that cat sucks from nose to tail. If my mom listens to this episode, which my mom has been listening, she
Oh,
has.
hey, Miss Gill.
So I have to be careful. uh, my mom has been listening. I showed her how to bring up the YouTube app on her
Oh,
Roku TV thing. Um, so just so you know, Mom, Miss Priss is the worst, and
this
I
Chris
need you to know
is
that.
the worst.
She's the worst. I know you know it. She's the worst.
All right, I think this is a good
Oh
place to
gosh.
stop and wrap it up for this episode.
Yeah, yeah. I hope everybody had fun with this one. We are both kind of cat and dog people, I'd say, Carver. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
if there's any
Yeah.
true enemy, it's bird owners, where it's high maintenance
God,
and just
oh, birds are the worst.
gross
Ask
birds.
my wife my feelings about I mean, none of the viewers will probably get a chance to, but I'm like, just I mean, you've probably done it, but I'm like, next time you're here, man, just ask my wife my thoughts on birds, and you will get a full picture of
I'm
my
kind of
hatred of birds.
I'm
I
kind of I'm
hate
I'm kind of with
birds.
you. I'm kind of with you.
I hate them so
Birds are
much.
weird. We'll talk about that later. All
Birds
right,
are weird and evil. Fish are useless.
they're delicious. They're both delicious. All right, folks.
Delicious and useless.
Thank you all for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, thanks
Bye.
so much. See you, buddy.